the national tournament has concluded, and with that, the 2023-24 season. In this episode, we will recap all three Central Michigan club hockey team seasons and break down all three tournaments for men's 2 and 3, as well as the women's team journey in St. Louis. It's the season finale of Inside Chippewa Hockey, and it starts right now. Inside the Moore Hall Television Studios on the campus of Central Michigan University, we welcome you to the season finale of Inside Chippewa Hockey. I'm your host, Devin Serra, and with me today, we're going to talk about first the men's Division III team and recap their season. To my right, I'm joined by CCHN broadcaster and great friend Reagan Cleese, as well as forward Andrew Porzonic, a senior. Gentlemen, welcome. How are you doing today?
Glad to be here.
It's good to be here.
Yeah, super excited about our last opportunity to go about this media thing together. The season tournament obviously is concluded at Nationals, and we'll get to that later in the show. But we've got a great guest on today. So Porzonic, Porzo as we call you, tell us about growing up in hockey. You're from Macomb. You've been skating for as long as you can remember, so tell us about it.
I feel like all hockey players started with they were playing mini mites, 2 foot, 3 foot tall, just getting out there, having fun, whacking at the puck, just kind of enjoying the moment type of thing. And then kind of as I got older, I took it a little bit more serious, kind of was like, hey, maybe I could do something with this. This is like a fun sport to play. Pretty much played for the rest of, I've been playing for the past 15 years now. So through high school, I played for Big Boy. We played at Fraser. I wasn't really like a high school hockey player. We had a team that they were good, but I don't know, I just kind of felt like I would just do my own thing. And so I ended up playing midget and then played Bantam as well. And so we ended up going to the national tournament the year before I came to Central. And then pretty much just kind of applied. And then I didn't even know we had a team at first. Honestly, I didn't even know we had a hockey team. I didn't really I figured, hey, just hang up the skates type of thing, focus on school. And Dalton actually reached out to me and said, he's like, hey, I saw you played hockey. Figured, hey, why not come out and give it a shot? So I was like, why not? Came out, first prospect skate. I was like, all right, these guys aren't too bad. This looks like it's going to be actually pretty fun. Ended up making the team, and then I've been in love with it ever since.
Yeah, and you kind of answered it, right? Dalton Sutherland, one of the greatest leaders and players in Division III history. Tell him kind of the impact he had on you. I know when you came in, there was so much success around this program, Vezina Cup titles, Nationals runs, and I feel like you naturally molded as a player from those guys.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Once you come to a new team, and especially with all the history that they've had, they've been on the team for 5 years. You had Brennan and Suki, all these guys that have been on the team for 4 or 5 years. They build chemistry, they build this bond, and so it's once you kind of join into that, you really absorb the culture and kind of say, hey, I'm in it for the long shot now. This is a second family pretty much. So they all the guys are just super nice. Everyone feels welcome. Nobody is ever excluded or anything like that. It's all the time I'm texting my buddies, hey, you want to hang out? And they're like, yeah, sure, come on over. We'll do something. And so we're always still hanging out with each other even after the season. So I still talk to Dalton and all the old guys and stuff like that too. So having that family, that's second family, kind of really helps you when you're coming to a new team like this.
Well, thank you. And talking about kind of your career as well, 107 games, 61 goals, 55 points, 116. You rank top 5 in all-time scoring for Central Michigan Division III. I know that's got to be pretty prideful.
I didn't know that.
Really? Well, now you do, right?
Yeah.
And last year especially, you proved that. I felt like last year was your best year for career-wise. Talk to us kind of about the last 2 years and how that's kind of felt being one of the leaders on this team.
It's definitely, once you get to be the older, you're up 4th year, 5th year, you kind of take that leadership role and say, hey, I got to step up, I got to show these younger guys, hey, this is how, our culture, this is what we do. Because I was in that situation, I was saying earlier about Dawn and them being older than me, bringing me into the whole family thing and everything. So once you really take that leadership role, you kind of expect yourself to do better. And it even helps too. Last year I had Nathan Bottles on my line as well as Hayden Flynn. They're great motivators, great hockey players. most of my credit to Bottles. He was the one passing me the puck to score the goal
That's
most
right.
of the time. And so, once you have like those good players surrounding you, you kind of adapt to the way you're playing. You build like the chemistry up, and that helps like insanely whenever you're trying to play. You know where your guy's going to be. You know, hey, if I throw it here, he'll do this. So it's like once you really build that, the points just kind of keep coming.
That's right. And you got the calm, cool distributor in Bottles. You got Hayden Flynn, the absolute motor, and then you, who's a gamer, as I like to call you. Well, Reagan, let's talk kind of now, switching gears, about nationals, right? The national tournament just concluded out in Maryland Heights, Missouri, Centene Community Ice Center, and this tournament had some of the biggest news that we've seen out of a nationals in years. For the first time since 2019, Hope College, the number 2 team coming in, was upset in pool play by Calvin University, who beat them earlier in the year to start our talking points here. But as among other things, Missouri made it to that Final Four, along with Grand Valley State and Lawrence Tech. What stood out to you in the pool play?
I mean, what stood out to me in the pool play was the fact that the top dogs in Hope, and I mean, Lawrence Tech did end up making it to the national semifinal, eventually onto that championship, but Hope losing was a massive thing. They had made it to the national semifinal for 4 or 5 consecutive seasons, and you'd kind of felt that this was coming. I mean, last year they lose to Michigan in the final in Marlboro, and then they come into this season, and they had lost to Calvin earlier in the year. So that was certainly an upset, but I really think everybody, with how few MCHC teams were in this national tournament, you kind of thought maybe there was a chance for some parity, but it was, again, 3 MCHC teams and a Matcha team. The 2 conferences that have been at the top of Division III for so long, and it proved out to be some really good semifinal games.
Speaking of that Matcha team, Missouri, for the first time in their program history, made it to that national semifinal. You know, last year they got very close in the pool we saw CMU in, ended up bowing out to Hope College in the end, but this tournament for them was chaos. They survived against Michigan State, an intense 3-2 victory, and then Air Force won in overtime to advance to their first national semifinal. What impressed you most about this Missouri team that a lot of us saw? They were big, fast, and physical.
Yeah, you said it well. They're such a skilled team throughout the season. You have to be a strong physical team within the Matcha to have any success. It's just that's the type of hockey that they build out there in Mid-America, and you see teams like Arkansas have success in the last 4 or 5 years. They've been a very big team on the back end, and then you have your very skilled forwards that kind of supplement that and allow you to have a really varied game out in Arkansas and Missouri State. And I think the tenacity of Missouri this year was what really stood out to me. They were able to overcome adversity. They had a tight game against Michigan State, as you mentioned. And then that final game against Air Force in the pool play, Air Force came back and tied that game. If they hadn't won in overtime, that would have been a lot. That would have gone down to tiebreakers, and they may not have gotten into the semifinal. But they showed their grit, they showed their determination in order to get into that national semifinal, and they played a very good game against Lawrence Tech.
In front of what was basically a home crowd for them. The Mizzou faithful traveled well. That place was jumping out on the Plager rank at Centene Community. That set the stage for our Frozen Four. Number 1, Lawrence Tech. Number 3, Grand Valley State. 4, Missouri. And number 10, Calvin, as we mentioned, with that upset over Hope. The first game was Lawrence Tech versus Missouri, and this one was back and forth the whole way. You had 2 goals, a minute and 17 apart in the early third from Nick Schoen and James Jentz, who ended up being the difference. Missouri had a goal called off at the end of the second period with 1 second left, ended up being the difference. They went 3-2. Lawrence Tech, for the first time, advancing their first national appearance.
Yeah, this was a back-and-forth game, and we kind of knew that coming in. We weren't on the call. We didn't get to see the game live, but looking back at the film, it was a really tight game. Lawrence Tech is a team that you and I have seen a lot this year, and we've seen a lot over the past couple of seasons. But they are a well-built team. They've been through adversity. They know what to do. They're very well coached. Ken Gaffney, Michael Woynick, along with numerous others out there. This Lawrence Tech team is well built, and they know how to handle those tough situations.
And Andrew, bringing you into this conversation, you've seen a lot of these teams this year, the likes of Lawrence Tech, who you guys had that tie and lost to, and of course we talk about the likes of Calvin and of course Grand Valley. So what does this reaction of this Frozen Four mean to you? And were you surprised? Is this what you expected it to be, or did you expect the Hope College?
I mean, I feel like everyone thought it was a little bit of a surprise, but I mean, it's Division III. Anyone can beat anyone. You could have had 16 seed win the whole thing. Anyone can beat anyone. All it takes is just one game.
I have no doubt about that, and certainly you know that, being on the Nationals runs that you've seen. Now looking at the other game, Grand Valley State versus Calvin, this MCHC rematch of when Calvin knocked GV out of the second round of the playoffs. This one was another back-and-forth game. Pair of 3-2 games in both semifinals. Steve Myers ended up having the go-ahead goal with 1:12 left in the game. Reagan, he was clutch for them all season, and Grand Valley needed to be to beat Calvin.
Yeah, they needed to be. You mentioned that loss in the semifinal, in the MCHC quarterfinals to Calvin earlier in the year. That was what dropped Grand Valley from the top spot where they had been all season down to that number 3 spot going into the national tournament. They got a little bit of a harder pool because of that. They faced some adversity with FGCU and Purdue to get out of it, and credit to them, they did. And they had to play a team that had their number earlier on in the year, and I was talking with Lou Gamlin, the voice of Calvin hockey. He figured that if Calvin had came out and played their game, they had a chance. But GVSU did a really good job. They dictated the tempo in that game, and it ended up leading to their national championship berth.
No doubt, and their first since losing to Sioux College 5 years prior to that. So that set the stage for the national final. Number 1 Lawrence Tech versus number 3 Grand Valley. And we know Grand Valley held the top spot for 7 straight weeks until Lawrence Tech slipped in there, and you had a game that lived up to the hype. Another MCHC final, Lawrence Tech, with goals from Benjamin DeHaas, Will Jensen, Gavin Holmes, all together put them ahead. And without GVSU 2 goals, despite giving up power plays, the Lakers struggled the final 8 minutes to put it in the back of the net. And Lawrence Tech went on to win their first national championship in program history. Guys, your reaction to the Blue Devils, who for years was touted as this high-depth team, high-scoring, but they can never get over the hump. They end all of that. Your reactions?
I mean, pretty much, we played them during the regular season. They're a big physical team. They've always been every single time we play them. I mean, pretty much, once you get like the top 5 section, I mean, like I was saying, anyone could beat anyone, but good for them to be able to pull out the win. I mean, huge win for them.
No doubt. Reagan, talking about a team that, look, we didn't know whether they were going to live up to the number 1 spot. They had a chip on their shoulder. They said in the post-game, all of their group of players and scratches, overrated, ? In a video, which has since become viral for them. But what a win for them to knock off Grand Valley State, who we all thought was the number 1 team.
Yeah, Grand Valley State, credit to them, they made it to the national tournament. But I think for LTU, they've been able to overcome adversity for the last couple of years, and they had to do it this year too. In their semifinal game against Mizzou, in their championship game against GVSU, you saw them get into penalty trouble. This is a team that, I mean, we saw it in the 2-2 tie at Farmington Hills Ice Arena between CMU and LTU earlier this season. They can get into penalty trouble. They can let a lot of penalties get in. We also saw it in the semifinal against Calvin in the MCHC tournament, where this is a team that can lose their temper, and they kept it cool. They had a couple of penalties early on in that championship game, but they were able to overcome it and maintain their system, which is the result of some very good coaching.
Yeah, they had the empty netter to seal it, a 4-2 victory. And Ken Gaffney, in his 15th season, finally gets to the top of the mountain. Lawrence Tech is your Division III national champions. To turn the corner now, let's talk about our season and CMU, who wrapped up what was their 11th as a Division III team, 11-13, 2-1 on the year. 6-9, 2-1 in the first semester. We had those wins over Notre Dame early on. It was really spectacular. 3-1 to start the first 4 games, and you hit some bumps in the road. But once the second semester started, 5-3 to finish the year with some big wins in there. Let's talk about it, Andrew. What did it feel like again from the start of the year to the end, and what are some takeaways you have?
Well, I mean, pretty much we got a whole bunch of new guys coming in, so we had some guys come from the D2 team as well, so we were kind of getting a whole different type of team. We got a lot of younger guys, a lot of kids from a different team. So pretty much we were just kind of all meshed together and really build that chemistry so that we were able to produce. Because I mean, the skill was there. We had a great team. Like the effort was there. Got to give credit to Jay and Owen, my 2 line mates. They played outstanding the whole year. I mean, we had the skill, and it's just couldn't find a way to split the puck in the net. I mean, like you were saying, we finished the season off pretty good, but we had a couple of tough losses, especially to Saginaw when we ended up losing 4-3, up 3-0. So we just couldn't really find a way to bury the puck.
And I really think, to kind of go off your point, I think finding an identity was the struggle for this team. You bring in about half your team is new. You're gonna struggle throughout the year to try and find that identity. And I mean, it kind of looked like you were going to get that through the first 4 games with a 3-1 start, but things kind of petered out the rest of the first semester. But I think you really started to pick up during that second semester when you beat Oakland. You went on that 5-game winning streak at home to end out the year, including beating Michigan for first time in a while.
Yeah, that was a nice win. I mean, we didn't get as far as we wanted to, unfortunately, but I mean, we tried, and I mean, there's always next year.
There is always next year, and we're going to get to that roster in a little bit, but looking at the best moments from this year, one of them that comes to mind was that 2-1 win over Notre Dame. Jake Bishop had the game winner in that, and what a fun moment it was, I'm sure, for you guys to beat, at the time, what was a top 15 team and set you guys on the national map. Walk us through that game and winning at home.
I mean, pretty much we knew, we were like, hey, these guys, like, we can beat them. Like, we can compete with them. Like, let's go out there and show them, like, hey, like, we're the shit. Like, we know what we're doing.
And revenge from last year, where you guys lost to them in their barn as well.
Well, I mean, pretty much we had to go in there with the confidence saying, like, hey, like, we know we're the better team. We got to play, like, all the way, like, to the walls and everything like that. So we just went out there and bared down and got the job done.
Reagan, I want to ask you about later in the year, another big win over Oakland. The same deal, 2-1. This one in the second semester. It was Jace Johnson's first career goal, and that game really marked what was a great second semester.
Yeah, it was the start to what was a phenomenal second semester at home, as you mentioned. It was really good to see the team rebound from that 5-1 loss the night before. You start the second semester, a 4-goal loss. It's always tough, but you come home back to the Marty for the first time this season, or in the semester rather, and you get that 2-1 win. It was hard fought. This is an Oakland team that could have made the national tournament had it not been for a couple of auto bids.
Some people say should have. All right, let's address the elephant in the room here. You get in Colby College, one of those auto bids, St. Vincent. People are Sacred Heart. You're going, where the heck is the rest of the 2 MCHC teams?
Yeah, I mean, with Oakland, they're a good team. They earned that top 16 spot. Yeah. They didn't get into the national tournament, much to their chagrin, but they earned that spot, and it was a very good win for CMU, and it kind of set the tone for the rest of the semester.
And what that set up was an Oakland team that beat Michigan, and you guys beat them on senior night. What a win that was. Sam Zabelson got the win on his senior night. You assisted on a great goal to Brandon Clements. I think we're going to roll the clip in this episode. So talk to us about that goal and then the game as a whole.
I mean, pretty much just kind of knew we had to dial in. We were saying, hey, it's senior night, so it's like we gotta do it for our seniors. It's their last rodeo here, so we gotta bear down and really get gritty with it. So, like you were saying about that goal, I remember just vaguely like turning around and seeing. I'm like, oh, like maybe I'll just give him the puck. He's open. Dropped it back to him, and then he had an insane move that I didn't even know he could do, and he ended up scoring and bringing home the win for us.
Yeah, he went Bobby Orr style. Right now, I'm shouting out you for being a Bruins fan. Bobby Orr with the legs sprawling out, the crowd jumps. I think you caught it on the broadcast. About this game was such a monumental moment, not because they lost the night before or the previous losses to Michigan, but what it meant after what was a tough season overall in the regular season. What was your reaction?
I mean, my reaction was relief. Michigan had been a stumbling block for this team for so many years. I think we hadn't beaten them in regulation since somewhere in the 2019 season.
Yeah.
So to finally get that win on senior night, to put a capstone on, yes, it was a tough year, but to get to to cap off what was really a phenomenal second semester. It was really a shining moment.
A shining moment indeed. And one more we have to mention is the Caleb Willery shutout against Illinois State. This is part of the future conversation we're going to have now is the group of freshmen that came in this year. The likes of Chase Johnson, who mentioned that first career goal. Lucas Hutton was a defenseman from Novi, a former captain. We know the pipeline has been great there with a lot of Novi players for a long time. But then Caleb comes in here, and all of a sudden, he's given the starting job to end the year. And he's in your goal for playoff time. Mention to me what you saw in the growth out of Caleb and what kind of confidence he brought you and your squad.
Yeah, I mean, he totally deserved it. I mean, he even though is that younger player, he still stepped up to the role and was like, hey, I'm going to be the one to lead this team to, like, maybe a national tournament. He did a great job taking over that role, really humbled himself and pretty much just kind of stuck his head down and was like, hey, like, let's do it. Let's grind.
Yeah, and certainly Caleb had played well at the start of the year, but he really came into light toward that second semester, as did the entirety of this team. But he really did shine in that Illinois State game. He faced 24 shots, not a ton, but you guys peppered Illinois State. You kept the pressure off of him, and it allowed him to play well. He stepped up in those tough moments, and you guys had the right to put confidence in him.
Yeah, and what a year it was for that matter to end it. And, of course, lost in the playoff game, but what a way to send your seniors off on senior night. Emotional for many of us, and certainly a memory that you and I will have for a long time. Thank you for coming on, Andrew. Appreciate the time. And Reagan Cleaves.
Before we go, we got something for you, Devin.
Oh, boy.
Pours out.
Uh-oh.
There you go.
Here we go.
You did the honors.
So
I wasn't informed of any of this at all.
we love you, Devin. We appreciate all that you did. So your team and our team decided to get you a little gift.
Oh, man.
We'll see you in
It's
New
the
Jersey
yellow
for
bean.
you.
It is,
It's my
it
favorite
is.
jersey, but next to the cream, of course. Oh,
Decided
my
to get you a little
gosh,
something
dude.
for all the hard work.
Look
We want
at
to say
that.
thank you.
Oh, my gosh.
Show them the back. Show them the back.
The Sarah, number 8.
Oh, yeah.
Number 8. Okay. Okay. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, no
Appreciate
problem.
that very much. Wow. Reagan. Dang it, man. I didn't know it was going to happen, but that's awesome. I've wanted one of these for a long time. I've got the other one from Brendan Nelson, you know. Great captain, but boy, that means so much. Thank you guys very much, and it was a pleasure being with you all season. We've got more coming up here on Inside Chippewa Hockey. As next, we'll talk to Mac Barnett and the Women's Division II team. Don't go anywhere. This is the season finale of Inside Chippewa Hockey. Chippewa Hockey is on CCHN.
Oh my goodness!
The place to watch men's Division III
Here's Connor Morgan out and quick Porzundicki scores!
and women's Division II.
Burnett's gonna get a shot and goal, and she scores!
Every shift, every goal, every game,
Central Michigan has turned the corner.
all in one place. CCHN, your home for Chippewa hockey. Welcome back to the season finale of Inside Chippewa Hockey. We are sitting down with the Women's Division II analyst, Parker Morrison, and perhaps the GOAT, the captain, the mom, the old-timer, whatever nickname we can muster up for defenseman number 12, Mac Barnett. Welcome to the show, guys. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Terrific as always, Dev.
Great. Did you like that line? Old-timer? Which one's your favorite?
Terrific.
All of them?
Yeah, all of the above.
None of them are the above. Okay, we get it. For sure. Well, it's great to have you on. What a season. What a end to it. Second straight Nationals appearance for you, Mac, and leading this program to great prominence on the national stage. Before we get to that, let's talk about you. We haven't had you on this thing before, so we got to really figure out stuff we haven't already. Talk to us about growing up playing hockey and what that was like.
So I grew up southeastern Michigan. I played most of my hockey youth travel career with St. Clair Shores. I started as a 12-year-old-ish, 11, 12, so I actually started a bit late. Grew into St. Clair Shores, travel from there, doing all kind of out-of-state, in-state, through Canada, etc. and then wound up playing for Troy Sting for my senior year. Then out of nowhere, one of my teammates from that Troy Sting team ended up telling me that she was heading to Central for a prospect skate, and I was like, Central Michigan has a team? And so at that point, we weren't super big, or nobody knew quite much about us, but I was very surprised when I got there, loved the girls and the coach that we had at the time, and then I've been here ever since.
Certainly. And we were going to ask you kind of your journey to CMU. We know that you're very involved in the studies, the medical field, right? So tell us kind of about how you got involved with CMU and what went into that decision.
Yep, so obviously it was a bonus that I was going to be able to play hockey here, but originally I was absolutely looking at my academics and my education. I'm very interested in health sciences in the medical field, so I started off thinking I was going to go to medical school, be a physician, but that obviously did not happen. But I really found my niche in the community in exercise science. So I graduated with my bachelor's degree in 2022 with my clinical exercise science degree. And I'm now currently finishing up my master's in exercise physiology. And from there, I will certify to become a clinical exercise physiologist in the summer here. And I currently work at Beaumont in Grosse Pointe, or Corwell, and I very much enjoy it.
That is so cool. And especially the fact that you're involved in so many things, it's more impressive that you've been able to do what you have for this Women's Division II program. Switching gears, we're going to talk about your guys' national tournament run out in St. Louis, Centennial Community Ice Center, a great host venue. We had quite the pool scenario. You had Boston College in there, Northern Michigan, a team you've seen before, and then the two-time national champion, Assiniboine, from 2 years ago. And tell us kind of about the first game we'll start with in Pool C against Boston College. You guys end up tying them. Gabby Nixon and Zoe Saudi add the tallies, but you guys have a close third period and overtime. Neither team scores. You ended a 2-2 stalemate. What was it like in that game?
I think starting out that game, we probably still had a little bit of some bus legs going on. Our first period was a little slow. However, we picked it up towards the end of the game in the third period. I think we actually played pretty well. However, it just, ran out of time. Yeah. So we ended up tying and having that overtime expire, but they came to play for sure, and they have a couple good lines of girls, and they were a good battle. We had a lot of fun. It just, on the scoreboard, didn't end up like we wanted it to.
Yeah, and Parker bringing you in, Bree Schroer, netminder down the stretch for them, had a busy game as she always have. 31 saves on 33 shots, proved again why she's one of the best in the CCWHA and all of women's too. Her season has exemplified that, and it showed up game number one.
Well, yeah, and we were able to see how she's developed over the course of the year. I remember when we had Kylie Del Rey on earlier in the year, she talked about that. And if you haven't watched that show, go ahead and go watch that right now, because she had some amazing things to say about Bree Schroer. But seeing her develop over the year, and especially going into nationals and playing like she did, was really special, I'm sure, for you, actually being on the ice with her. So that was just a really cool feature to see over the course of the entirety of nationals.
Yeah, what was it like having Bree as a teammate this year? We've seen her development in strides, which we know she's one of those Chris Haney recruits. How has she turned out so far in her first 2 years, in your opinion?
Absolutely beyond words. Bree definitely is not only an amazing person, a great teammate, a good friend, but a phenomenal teammate, and I am so happy to be able to play in front of her, because we definitely got lucky on that one.
Certainly lucky, and you have to be lucky to be good. Looking at the rest of your nationals run, you guys took on Northern Michigan, had a 6-2 loss in that. Kylie Del Rey ended up having the rest of the goals for you in this national tournament, as he followed up with an 11-2 fall to Assiniboine, who went on to the national final against Sioux College. In these games, a very different piece than what we might have expected. Obviously for you, I know your team wanted more out of this. Talk us through first Northern Michigan and kind of where things might have went wrong for you guys.
I think Northern was definitely a bit of a surprise. They definitely came out to play. They had the speed, they had the skill, and they had a couple changes from previous games that we played with them in regular season. So they definitely brought it to us. I think it was a little bit maybe nerves, I could imagine, or as well as, thinking, well, we also do have to play the two-time reigning champion of nationals tomorrow, and so I can imagine that was a bit of a feat as well. But I think it was just something that didn't quite click, and we really just needed to turn around and play together as a team.
Yeah, and Parker, they had to go up against Chloe Valente and Paris Wegleitner, one of the two best players in Women's Division II this year. It really felt like those players rose to the occasion and stepped up for Northern Michigan when they needed it most.
And they're amazing players, and they've been at the top of the leaderboard of the ACHA for as long as they've been in the league, with sitting at the top with the likes of Lawrence Tech's Buckberger, and you guys had to face her earlier in the year. And obviously, when you play players like that, in especially a very big stage such as Nationals, it's going to get in your head a little bit. You guys played 3 days straight, coming off a very long bus ride there as well, and it's hard when you're going against some of the best on a stretch like that. And I mean, no person is going to be able to play at their 100% best, and that's where it ended up getting you guys. It got in your head a little bit. I talked with Kylie Del Rey earlier today, and she mentioned that she thinks the team was kind of in that zone of, oh, it's Nationals, we got to overperform, we got to do this, we got to do that, we have to do amazing feats, and they didn't treat it like the other 26 games that they've played this year.
And Mac, bringing you back in here, like looking at that Assiniboine game specifically, I mean, you do take on the team that has the most depth, the best goal scoring talent. We certainly saw that with multiple performances and 54 shots on Bree Schroer. The score doesn't indicate how well she played in this game. Say 43 in this one. First, is there any takeaways you can see from the younger players in this game? I felt like defensively, even though they let up those goals at times, there was things to like and improve on.
Yeah, definitely. I think we have an extremely young team. So going into these big games like Nationals and playoffs, I think there is a point of pressure coming into it for them to try and outperform everybody else. So they're just learning and figuring out where they fit. I think that ultimately during that Assiniboine game at that third period end, we all started coming together as a team, and I think genuinely that Assiniboine game, as much as they did play fantastic and really were the better team of that game, we just were getting like outbounced, out of luck. Everything was just not happening for us, and so not to discredit Assiniboine because they played phenomenally, but it was just one of those games that nothing went our way.
Yeah, and to be the best, you have to play the best, and you showed that taking on that team. Talking about what their run looked like, the Frozen Four made up of Providence and Assiniboine. Assiniboine took care of business against Providence despite allowing 2 goals early in that one. And then on the other side, you had Dakota College Bottineau, one of the best teams within the conference, or rather league, the last couple of years out of the West, and the mighty giant that is Sioux College. And Sioux took care of business. I think they shut out Dakota College in that game as well. Set the stage for the final that I think everybody expected. Assiniboine and Sioux College. Parker, Sioux College ends up winning that one in a shutout. Their second straight national title. A ton of respect to their team. They showed up and only lost 1 game the entire season.
Yeah, well, they not only went back-to-back, but they came into this season with a little lower expectations than they did last season. Assiniboine was projected to win by a little bit more, and when Sioux College comes in and they're showing all of these people that have now developed from freshman to sophomore to junior, they lost so much firepower at the likes of 7 different seniors leaving their team, but the second that they lose those seniors, the recruiting staff is amazing at bringing in more freshmen.
It is a community college,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
So you only get them 3 years.
Yep, and when you're able to develop your players as quickly as Sioux is able to do, you're going to go back-to-back, and even when you're playing amazing teams such as South Dakota and Assiniboine.
No doubt. And now talking more about this season, right? And you guys saw Sioux College there on that road trip. Of course, you knew what to expect with them the rest of the year with that kind of trip. But one of the best years in this program's history, the most wins in any single season, 17-6-1-0. Your second straight Nationals appearance, we talked about that. But the first CCWHA playoffs win in program history against Michigan State and ultimately got you to be that 2 seed. This was a year that I think a lot of Chippewa fans have been expecting and waiting for, and it's a great turning point to say this team has arrived and this program is here to stay.
I think that ultimately I'm super proud of this season that we've had so far. For our first CCWHA win was super great. The camaraderie was awesome between our teammates, but as well as we had our first win at Adrian in 7 years that I've been here, and so there was definitely a good season that we've had, and definitely up to all of our girls that we've had come in, as well as our fantastic coaching staff, to be applauded for that.
And let's give awareness where it is. You came into this program when it was very much not on the national map. You guys had never made a national final. You had some good players and throughout your career. Who do you think of that's helped you along the way to develop this program? And I have it in my mind, but who can you credit besides just your work that you've done to build this thing up?
Definitely when I first came in, it was a lot of work done by our previous head coach, Brittany Knott, but as well as Anastasia Hartman, who was the captain before me. She definitely paved the way for my ease into this position for sure. I would have most definitely had a more difficult time without her. But definitely once I came into this position and Stas had left, Chris Haney, for sure, absolutely 100% had saved everything to do with this program and has definitely made it to be what it is.
No doubt. And talking about your leadership style, as you leave your mark on CMU, I want to ask you first what you kind of always envisioned this program to be and what that leadership mentality was like, and then follow that up with me with a favorite memory, a favorite goal, or a moment that sticks out to you in the history of your time here.
I think ultimately this whole ride has been wild. I'm very thrilled to see where this program may grow. I think that these girls will take it in stride, and they're all very prepared to be able to take it over as I leave. However, my most favorite memory, at least from my personal statistic, was my very first game here we played Aquinas College, who was still D1 at the time, and we had our very first home game. It was my very first game I have ever played in the ACHA, and I ended up scoring a hat trick somehow, some way. That was also back when I played forward, which is not any longer, but I think that one was one of the definites of very exciting moments. However, at least the ones most fulfilling have been these last 3 years with Chris and our other two coaching staffs, and being able to show this kind of leadership and making the path for this program to come.
And I talked to you earlier about some numbers that were going to blow your mind. I want to get to those for everyone watching on this program. Here's what the stats look like for Mac Barnett. First player in program history to reach 100 games played. You finish with 103. To our records, based on the ACHA's Elite Prospects page, dating back to Women's Division II since its inception, you are tied second all-time on the list for most games played with Erica Savani and Kennedy Strom. And not just mention that, I mean, you have some of the most experience with this team now at Nationals as well. Talk to me about what that stat means to you and how your reaction is.
I think the statistic is all of piece of paper. I think genuinely what it comes from is ultimately how the team goes and how the leadership leaves for what is here to come. I believe that if I have done my job, then this program will not only just thrive, but continue to do well. I think ultimately the 103 games tied is just longevity, making sure that, I'm here for a while and making sure things are going to as planned. However, through the ups and downs of this program, I am happy to say that I leave it in good hands.
Parker, when you look at the career of Mac Barnett and her as a person, what stands out and what points first in your mind?
Well, I mean, she basically rebuilt this program from ground up, starting, and
gotta give Anastasia Hartman flowers too
yeah,
here.
oh, absolutely,
Clearly. And Chris
absolutely,
Haney, as she mentioned. But yes, one
oh,
of the
of course,
founding
but
members, if you would.
Exactly, one of the founding members. And when I was talking with Kylie Del Rey earlier, she mentioned that she speaks for herself and from the team when she says that you have been so authentic and you know so much about hockey, and not just that, but just being a human, and you're not just a teammate, you're a mentor and a friend, and you lift everyone up on the bench. Even when you guys aren't playing the best, you are the sole person that goes, all right, guys, let's get this together. This is what we need to do better. And she mentioned that she started crying before you got, or she even left the bench at the Assiniboine game. I'm sure other people had those mixed feelings as well, but she said the biggest thing is it doesn't matter who will ever wear the C in CMU's history and in the future, no one will ever be you. And I think that stands for, when she speaks for herself and the team, just how great of a career you've had here at Central Michigan, and no one is going to even come close to comparing to you. So that's how you leave your mark here. And I can't think of any better words to say for it.
No doubt. And personally from me, thank you for all the kind words and being so helpful to our broadcast team. We made history being the first group to cover the Women's Division II team at this level, and you were at the forefront of that. As far as you're sending off, we know you had a great Nationals moment with your parents there off the ice. We saw a lot of emotion, a lot of tears. As we talked about your favorite moment, but how did it feel to walk off the ice for the final time?
It was surreal because at a moment, you realize of what you've built, but also of what you leave behind. I think that the moment I had with my parents was definitely an emotional one, just because of how much support that they have had in me and how much faith that they've had in this program and what I've been doing here. I think is definitely something that I sometimes have taken for granted, and so to see what they have done for me in the background, but also from what I've been able to give to this team is definitely something to commend them on as well. But it's just a surreal moment that I'm leaving on a high note, but it's still sad that I am leaving.
It always is, but we think about the good times more than the time that passed, and you were part of that. So thank you for everything on behalf of our entire CCHN family as well. Well, that's going to do it for this segment of Inside Chippewa Hockey. Up next, we're going to talk to John Gervasi and Joel Drucker of the Men's Division II team. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the final episode of Inside Chippewa Hockey. Chippewa Hockey is on CCHN.
Oh my goodness!
The place to watch Men's Division III
Here's Connor Morgan out in front for Porzundek. He scores!
and Women's Division II.
Burnett's gonna get a shot and goal, and she scores!
Every shift, every goal, every game.
Central Michigan has turned the corner.
All in one place. CCHN, your home for Chippewa hockey. Welcome back to Inside Chippewa Hockey, the season finale. I'm your host, Devin Sarah, and I'm now joined by two members of the Men's Division II team and broadcast group, John Gervasi, longtime Men's Division II broadcaster, and Joel Drucker, goaltender for the team. Guys, how are you doing tonight?
Doing great. It's good to be back on after a year or two, or something like that.
Yeah, I think you were an OG because we did the first episode.
Because it had the Christmas trivia that never got recorded.
That's
I'm
right.
still
that's
mad
right.
about that one.
Still mad because I think you won it, right?
No, I got smoked.
Oh boy. Okay. Well then, there you have it. John, how are you doing? Busy end of the year, but boy, a lot to talk about after Nationals, eh?
Yeah, very busy end of the year, just wrapping up our prospects gate last weekend, and then just, the season's over, but the off season has just started in terms of sponsorships and getting everything else going.
Which is pretty much a season in its own,
Yeah.
right? So a lot going on there. Let's talk about you, Joel, first. We know you spent time with this program for a good number of years. Former Men's Division III goaltender. You moved to Division II this year and recorded the only win and a shutout on the season. But before that, tell us about kind of you as a person, how you grew up playing hockey.
Yeah, so I started playing hockey about 15 years ago. I think I was 7 years old when I started skating for the first time, 8 when I joined my first team. And I was actually a forward to start, and then I moved back to defense, then I moved back even further to being a goalie. So you can kind of see that I just went farther and farther back as I got through. So it was about 2 years in, like 1 or 2 years in when I started playing goal, and I kind of stuck with that ever since. And playing in Plymouth, I mean, that's a big, big hockey town. I mean, now USA Hockey Arena is right down the corner. That was my old youth rink back when it was still called CompuAir Arena, and the Plymouth Whalers played there. I'm sure you remember them.
Oh, certainly. I mean, that arena was awesome to play in. And Plymouth specifically, you had a pretty successful time in high school. We know how prideful you are. I always like seeing your Instagram stories and your social media. So kind of tell me about what it was like to play for Plymouth and what the team dynamic was like.
Oh, it was unreal. I mean, that's one of the only schools that I know of where you can play a game on a Wednesday night, then immediately after on that Thursday morning, you can go in to have class with the other team. And you can brag to them like, hey, we beat you guys, ha ha, there you go.
Yeah, certainly. And when you came to CMU, you were in a lot of different passions. You play lacrosse. We know you're a guitar player as well, musician there. But why CMU hockey, and what ultimately drove you to this school?
So my senior year going into my freshman year, I was actually recruited by the D2 team. So this was during the Knopp era. This was even before Coach Boyle came along. But they recruited me, they picked me up, but then Knopp got axed, and then Boyle came in, and then we had the pandemic year. So I didn't have, that season with D2. Then I moved to D3, hoping to see some action. Got in, went to the national tournament twice. Didn't see as much ice as I liked, but I still had fun. It was a great experience. Kind of got me ready to make my return to D2 this year. And I credit that time just baking in the D3 system to why I made it to D2 this year.
Yeah,
and then from here on out, it's kind of, self-explanatory what happened.
Self-explanatory, right? How many games have you been involved with? So much in different teams. Like the lacrosse thing also helped you as a player. John, bringing you in, kind of seeing how Joel's developed with Division II. What does he bring kind of as a person and a player? I know your guys' team clings itself to being a close, tight-knit group, and we saw them swarm him when he got that first win.
Yeah, Joel has brought a lot to this team, a lot of excitement. He is a goalie, so he's quiet. He's got his own things, but I think he formed a really good tandem with Dylan Niermeyer this year. It's not the season you want to have. We kind of knew going into the season kind of what to expect, and having Joel and Dylan, having Joel as a senior with his leadership, and then having Dylan in there as well. Joel brought a lot to this team, and getting a shutout is huge. There are countless games this year where Joel stood on his head. We just didn't have the numbers to kind of give him the help he needed.
Yeah, part of the story now transitioning to kind of talking about your season. Officially, you guys finished 1-20 on the year. What about as well as you kind of could expect with a depth roster like this one? A lot of tough games in there against teams like Sioux College and Adrian. But the second semester was really solid for you guys. A lot of competitive games. You had that UW-Milwaukee come back in there. And then, of course, the win against Northern Michigan. So talk to me about, this kind of season as a whole and, in general, kind of what you liked seeing. Talking about our conversation from last episode in second semester.
We just talked about it. The season went about as well as you could have hoped for a roster size. We've talked about the Michigan game. We were down. It was 0-0 for 10 minutes. If we have a full roster in that game, who knows what happens? We play tough teams like Sioux and Adrian, very good hockey teams. They didn't make the national tournament this year, but very good teams. I think that the second semester is where we kind of started to gel as a team. We started picking up players along the year. Your fraternity guys, the Kappa boys, Logan Wolf, Brad Stevens, kind of our enforcer, if you will. We started gaining a little bit of momentum. And UW-Milwaukee in the first semester of the season, right before Sioux, I thought that was really where we turned a corner as a hockey team. And then going into the second semester, playing a really good Northern team where, we could have split with them or even taken 3. We had the shootout in the second game. The first game, 10 minutes of just, or 10 minutes of what? 10 minutes of like bad play or 5 minutes, and that took us out. But the future is bright. The grittiness of this team, and they don't get pushed around. You see it with Joe Rizzo, for example. Opposing teams learn pretty quickly not to go after Joe Rizzo and Brendan Bages and those guys because they give it right back. So just the grittiness of this team.
Yeah, and continuing that point, we were going to get now to our top 5 moments for you guys of the year. You talked about that UW-Milwaukee comeback. You lost, but of course you said it felt like you turned a corner there. One of the things that was so interesting, too, we talked about your shutout on senior night. Let's focus on that one. How good did that game feel for you, Joel, stepping in there in what was at this point pretty much the game you guys felt like you circled? Like you could have won this one, could have won more than just one. This one was the best game you've had all year. Tell us about it.
Right. So, I will tell anyone this. This is like a culmination of everything that's been building up over the year. We had Michigan. They started slow on the year. We had, 10 guys maybe on that bench at most.
Yeah.
And then, as the year went on, more people started showing up to the games. We get more people. The next game, maybe we have 13 people. And the next game we have 15. And then it just kept building up. And then I think around that second semester point, I think that second Sioux College game in particular, we finally get the full squad together, the full 19 guys I think we had this year, right?
Yep.
I think it was 19, but
yeah,
we get the full squad together. And then after that game, it's like, boom, the switch is flipped. We're now staying competitive. Now, we're seeing, instead of, getting us blown out, we're losing by, 1, 2 goals. And then finally, you get to Northern number 3, as this one was the 3rd game in the series. We finally put together that win, and we just so happened to play so well together as a team that it ended in a shutout for us. So
yeah, sure. And continued about their top 5 moments. I mean, that one really sticks out because of what it meant for you, of course, being on the show, but that entire gel. I just think back to that moment post game when everyone huddles together on your team and so much excitement with not just your parents and family and alumni, but you guys as well on the ice. John, talking about the Will Clark shootout goal versus Northern Michigan, this one was gross, to say it lightly. Will Clark, we know, is one of the best shooters on this team. He's been one of the best products for them. And talk about his moment and kind of his season.
So I can't speak to shootouts before. I know we had last one against Adrian. This is of this regime right now. Will Clark has the first shootout goal of any of our players right now, and it was just a wrister. But Clark's season, he came as a freshman. He was still kind of learning. Second season last year, he started running people over, throwing people into the boards, gets hurt. I think like 4th game of the season, somewhere around there. And then this season, he picked up the physical play and started putting pucks in net, and he was second on our team in points and goals behind our captain, Frankie Williamson. And Clark's growth this year has been really impressive, so I'm really excited for a senior season of Will Clark and, other guys on this team like Jake Witten.
No doubt, and that is one of the biggest returners in Will Clark this season. Our final top 5 moment of the year that we're mentioning on this show, the outdoor game to finish things up. And what a spectacle to go play out there. Tell us about that moment and what kind of stuff maybe you didn't share with us last episode about that we didn't know.
I've done 2 outdoor games now. They're really fun. I liked Clark Park a bit better just because at Clark I could kind of see the whole rink. Being at Burr Park, we've got the scorers box kind of in the way, but it's an outdoor game. Like, how often do you get to say, hey, I called an outdoor game, or I got to be at an outdoor game?
To be on the ODR like the old days, every kid grows up playing on that type of environment, and it brings back some of those memories, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. I remember, going out to Maine, playing on ponds out there, but just it's a fun moment. Ultimately, we lost, but, I know Doug Wickstrom, our coach, said he wouldn't his quote was, I don't normally buy a ticket to a hockey game, but I would have bought a ticket to that game because it was one of the best hockey games I've seen all year. And I completely agree. And I got to watch it for free. So
that's right.
That's one of those things where I loved one of the best moments of the season so far this year.
No doubt. And one of the best dude all time, Doc Emmerich, he usually says, the best part about my job is I get to get in free. I can relate to that with you a lot. Talking about the future now and just switching to our final point about this team, a lot of good prospects, like you mentioned, coming in. We had that goaltender on last time out that was coming up through the ringer, and 7 years to change the culture of Division II. I have. Tell me about where the future outlook has this team and what can we expect in 2024.
I said this 3 episodes ago. Our assistant coach during our prospects gate when we had a Q&A with parents, we guaranteed, and I'm standing by this, we will have more wins than losses next year. We will have a winning record. We've got good prospects coming in. The culture, and you just mentioned 7 years. Everybody knows kind of what happened with this team. If you don't know, that's a story for another time. It's taken 7 years to change the culture of this team. And I think we finally have a coach in Doug Wickstrom who is doing that. Guys are buying into a system. The last 2 years were rough with our coaching staff. We want to get back to the level of success that the D2 team used to have. They have, to D2's credit, they have 7 nationals appearances.
Yeah.
So we kind of want to get back to that. And I wrote my season recap, and I kind of titled it, "The Reports of Our Demise Were Greatly Exaggerated," because, we didn't know if we were even going to have a team this year. Coming into the first prospects gate, I look around, there's only 7 guys returning there. And to see the team kind of build over time this year, I think next year we're going to be a fantastic team. And the one thing about having a small roster that year that's great, next year we're only losing Joel and Bogey. I don't have to memorize that many names.
Yeah.
I already have the roster set.
And you know what? Talking about the future, and I know, Joel, you're one of those guys leaving. Do you have in mind the favorite memory that you have with Division II or Division III in your time as a Chippewa?
Well, I'll give you guys one for each team that I've been on. So for Division III, it was definitely Nationals of last year, which was, I think, the last time we went.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Nationals of last year. So in that
Marlboro.
series,
In
Yep,
Marlboro.
Yep, Boston. So that year we had the Air Force game, and I think we ended up losing that one. I think it was like 6-4 or something like that. But that was
Well, technically, because Air Force actually had to forfeit that game because of an ineligible player, but that's beyond that. Yep. There you go.
But yeah,
Hey,
well,
we're just saying. Yeah.
Well, anyway, so I remember I was the one playing in that game, and what made that game so special to me was my aunt and my uncle who lived in that area managed to get out to that game to watch it.
Yeah.
So that's what made that special to me, not the fact that, I get a win off a technicality or something like that, just because I had two family members who I hadn't seen in 15 years finally come over to see me play in a hockey game. So that was what made that one special. As for D2, well, I'm pretty sure you already know my answer for this one. Northern shutout.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really beat the the fact that you can say that, well, it may have been a rough season, but I mean, I was the one who was in net for the only win, and I was the one who was in net for the only shutout. I mean, sorry, Dylan, but
Well, in Dylan's defense,
we had a lot of close games with him too.
Dylan.
I think we should have had Northern too as well.
Yeah, it's funny because for the last 2 years we had Jonah in net, and
I remember Jonah.
Out of
yeah.
Dylan, Zavs, and Jonah, Dylan had the only shutout the last 2 years until Joel got one this year. So it's pretty. So they both got their shutouts.
Yep.
But I'm proud of both of the goalies.
And you know what's coolest is even in a struggling year like this, you can find bright spots just like those and more. And we look forward to seeing you next year in 2024-25. Joel, thank you for your time. John, great job all year on Inside Chippewa Hockey. We appreciate you and everything you do. That's going to do it for this segment of Men's Division II. Stay tuned as we've got a special segment coming up to finish up Inside Chippewa Hockey. Chippewa Hockey is on CCHN.
Oh my goodness!
The place to watch Men's Division III
Here's Connor Morgan out and Porzundiki scores!
and Women's Division II.
Burnett's gonna get a shot and goal, and she scores!
Every shift, every goal, every game,
Central Michigan has turned the corner.
all in one place. CCHN, your home for Chippewa hockey. What's up, guys, and welcome to Martin Ice Arena on Inside Chippewa Hockey. This is the Goalie Shootout Challenge. To our right, we've got Parker Morrison, Ian Drayton with us, and to our left, we got CMU netminder Sam Zabelson. What's up, bud? Welcome back, eh?
Thank you.
Ready to go?
Happy to be back.
Alrighty, cool. Well, what we're gonna do here is a 5-shot shootout challenge. Basically, each of us get 5 shots to put on Sam. Whoever scores the most goals wins it. If there's a tiebreaker, we'll go to a sudden death shootout. Let's get started. Here we go. Okay, 5 shots, 5 opportunities to score on Sam here. I've only got 4 pucks though, so I'm gonna have to get one back in a minute. Oh, there we go. Cool. Oh, missed it. Okay, saucy back. There you go, bud. Thank you. All right, I'm not promising this is gonna be pretty, so you gotta bear with me here. All right, here we go, ready? This is gonna be harder than it looks here.
Are we not skating up?
I might have to move a little closer on you, huh? Damn, gotta get some lift in that puck, you know? Gotta really get my stick down on it.
This kid blows.
Darn. I really should just go in on him,
Devin,
shouldn't
I feel like we should skate up.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, I feel like we should start a little
This one.
bit.
Let's get up there. Darn. Wish I had that back.
Let's go.
Here we go. Ah. Darn, dude. Dang it. All right, Parker, you're up.
I'm up. What?
Here we go.
Oh, yeah, boys.
Here we go, bud. Come on now.
Got past him on that one.
It's like a 1 overall trying to.
Didn't count, didn't count.
trying to get through on
Chilling?
it.
Doesn't matter.
Hey, family friendly.
Oh yeah, you're right. All right, am I doing 2 skating up?
Yeah.
I can't believe that.
Slippery slope to climb there.
Oh,
Oh man.
outrageous.
Oh.
Have
Parker,
we
what-
thought about the fact we're all going 0 for 5?
That seems to be the trend right now. Here we go. Come on, Ian. Woo!
I
got some lift
thought
on
that was
that.
actually gonna drop in.
I actually thought that might drop in. Not really though. Come on, baby. Oh.
Bro's got the backhand.
Keep her going. Come on. There's no gimmies here. This isn't Bush
That's how
League.
coach wants.
There's no gimmies here. Everything's earned. Oh yeah, he's got a good chance here.
Oh, he's about to deke his.
Got him down.
Woo!
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Dude, I thought he had it.
All right, let me feed you. Let me feed you. Ready?
All right, Devin.
Let me feed you. Go get it. Oh man, this looks like a certain something here.
I know.
No, got away. None of us could capitalize on our chances, so we're gonna go from the blue line now. This is sudden
I don't know
death.
what you mean.
Each of us get one
I'm
shot
on the Red
each.
Wings.
First guy to make it, that's a winner. All right, here we go. Stone hands right here.
Woo!
Damn, darn. Put a little smoke on it, didn't work out. All right, Parker, go. We're gonna keep going. We gotta get one in here for the brand. For the brand here.
Try to go back door. I'm gonna try to deke him.
And be so slow with it.
This kid's nuts. Oh my god.
Dude, oh my God, we almost had a winner.
I thought I lost.
I thought I was gonna lose right there. You almost had it. All right,
You want
I'm
to
up.
stick?
I'm up here. I got it. I got it.
Killing us. Well, I can't skate.
Here we go.
Woo! I
Not Mayday. I want you to open up your spot, man. Open up that 5-hole. Oh.
Oh, dude, I tried it twice.
It's gonna
frick.
sit on the bench for a minute. Wallow in self-pity.
Devin, good luck on the censoring, buddy.
Wallow in
That's on me.
self-pity from his legs. Hey, it's a handicap. It's a handicap. Oh! Oh! You all right, bud? Not close enough. He's just gloating in here now. I really thought for a second I could go wide, but hell no. Parker, we're gonna go, let's do 3 more rounds. And then we're putting a handicap on you.
Dev, you need a puck.
For the win.
Dev.
He's waiting, he's taking his time. Where's he gonna go? Oh! The celly is hard. Parker, the pressure's on, man. We got to score here.
What the?
Oh, it's all on Parker now to keep it going. Oh! That's it. We have a winner. Mr. Drayton is the winner. Well, That's the end of our hockey career.
Dude, Dev,
That's the end of my career. But what a shootout challenge it was. Put in our best effort.
You know what? I think I could make it in a good beer league.
All right, guys. Well, we just wrapped up the shootout challenge here on Inside Chippewa Hockey. Ian, congratulations. He's the winner of the inaugural Inside Chippewa Hockey shootout. Zavs, thanks for being a good sport, bud. We appreciate you, my man. All right, well, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on Inside Chippewa Hockey. Chippewa Hockey is on CCHN.
Oh my goodness!
The place to watch men's Division III
Here's Connor Morgan out in front, but Porzundiki scores!
and women's Division II.
Burnett's gonna get a shot and goal, and she scores!
Every shift, every goal, every game,
Central Michigan has turned the corner.
all in one place. CCHN, your home for Chippewa hockey. And what a great segment that was with goaltender Sam Zabelson. We're back for the final part of the season finale of Inside Chippewa Hockey. To my right, our analysts, John Gervasi, Parker Morrison, and Reagan Cleaves with me. Guys, what a season it was on all fronts. This was the first time we had this much expansive coverage. We had our studio show revitalized, but what's your guys' favorite moments from the year overall? Starting with you, John.
Oh, I was gonna let Reagan go first because I got a little.
Okay, you gotta let us
You want to
simmer.
work this way?
Let us
Okay.
simmer.
Okay. Throwing off my roll, but
Oh,
all right, let's
all
go.
right.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go to the third guy. Why not? Sure. Why not? All right. Well, there in the corner, he's the reason we all look so good on Instagram. But it's like, hey, that was a fun moment and a great trip. Probably the best Florida trip of the two.
Yeah, that was obviously the best Florida trip that I had. My favorite moment of the year, though, outside of the 2 weeks calling Nationals games, probably was the win over Michigan, Devin. It was such a relieving win. You cap off the year with a win at home, and it was great to get to call a final game with you at home.
Sure. What's your favorite call, though? I mean, that was my senior moment or whatever.
My favorite
But come
call.
on, you had some
Your-
good ones in there, some not so good ones, but
I probably Woolery shutout.
ooh,
If I had
that's really
if I had to go CMU
one.
hockey,
Solid one.
Devin, what about you? What's your favorite moment?
You
Not
know,
only of this year, but also your
go
entire
to.
career.
Well, I thought a lot about that Michigan moment, right? But my favorite is not even a call I have or one specific game. It was when you called that Jacob St. Andre game winner against Lawrence Tech. And you know why that's my favorite moment? Because I could not hear for another hour and a half to that game. I couldn't speak to anyone. I said my eardrum was blown. But one of the coolest moments ever. And hey, Thomas Rope getting the win there.
Before we go, Devin, we have something for you. I think we've got it queued up in the back.
Devin, thanks for being willing to show a new guy what's what. You really taught me a lot how to run a broadcast, and I really appreciate you, man. Good luck out there.
Thank you for all you've done to make CCHN into the group it is. It's a great group of people. We put on an awesome show, and it's a lot of fun. And thank you for all the help you've given me along the way. It's helped me have a really awesome last year at Central because of it. So thank you, and good luck in all your future endeavors, man.
Hey Devin, I just want to say thank you for giving me the chance to work for CCHN. It's been amazing. I'm happy to finally get some broadcasting work under my belt. Also appreciate all the work that you've done for CCHN over the past few years. So enjoy graduation and good luck to whatever comes to you next.
Thank you, Devin, for everything. Thank you for teaching me all the broadcasting stuff. Have fun when you get out of college.
Hi, Devin. It's me, your favorite member, CCHN. I just want to say congratulations on 4 incredible years. The godfather of CCHN, as people have called you. You know, when I came to CCHN, I barely knew the game of hockey. You have helped me so much when it comes to being on air, giving me confidence on air, giving me the knowledge of the game. And I want to thank you for that. And you have a very bright future, and I'm so excited to see what you have in store next. Good luck with everything. Finish this year strong, and thank you so much for being a really good leader and a really good friend. Thank you.
Devin Sarah, old buddy, old pal. Bro, you're about to graduate, man. Time flies. You know, you've put in so much work to CCHN. You make CCHN great and where it is now. It started from the bottom, and now it's going very well. A lot of people are involved, you know. a lot of cool experiences from you, bro. You know, you take care of your people. You're a people person, but you also work very hard at your craft, and you're very great at your craft. So no doubt in my mind that you're going to go places after graduation, get out of this crappy town in Mount Pleasant and do big things, man. So I'll be watching you, cheering for you on the sidelines, and, you know, good luck in the future, bro.
Devin, thank you so much for 4 years of hard work, dedication, and commitment to CCHN. We truly appreciate everything you've done for this organization. Can't wait to see where life takes you. Fire up forever.
Hey Devin, this is Calvin. Just wanted to, congratulate you on graduation. So grateful to be able to work alongside you. You're a really talented guy and even better person. Wishing you the best and all your future endeavors. Yeah, super grateful to call you a friend, man. Just an awesome dude and very grateful to have you in my life. I'll be praying for you, and I know that the Lord has some great things in store for you, man. Love you, brother.
Devin, Sierra Mist, you are officially old, and I know that because you are graduating, my friend. Congratulations. It has been an honor to know you as my buddy and my pal. I had so much fun with you, getting to know you on that softball series last year. And who could forget the first ever men's basketball game that you and I got to do. My only regret is not being able to know you past these last year and a half that I got to, but I cherish every single moment of it. Have fun with the rest of your life, buddy. I will continue to be there for you. And as always, have fun in those Aldi shoes. Those are going to look really good on you.
Devin, from everyone here at CCHN, we want to say thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. Not just for all the work you do, but for the memories that you're going to leave behind here as well, whether that's the road trips to Miami, the plane trips to Florida, the 2 a.m. drives back from Adrian, whatever it is, man, we're going to miss you so much next year, and nobody's going to be a better play-by-play for us. Maybe Reagan. Don't show Reagan that. He'll kill me.
Hey, Devin, I just want to first and foremost say thank you for everything the last 2 years. I mean, just the amount of stuff I've learned from you is uncountable, and I know I didn't have the opportunities to work with you like some other people have, but just the lessons and the knowledge that you are able to pass down to everyone is, like I said, it's uncountable. And just the way you've been able to build CCHN, just your work ethic day in and day out, I just want to say thank you for that. Good luck in your future, man. No matter what you put your mind to, you go 100% for it. And I see nothing but a bright future for you. And I just want to once again say thank you and good luck.
Devin, I wanted to say congratulations on a wonderful 4 years here at CMU. And thank you so much for all that you've done with CCHN. The countless car rides, the planning, the fun, the festivities, the laughter, also the sadness, but also the real talks too. Thank you so much for you put your whole life, you put your whole 4 years here and into this building CCHN from where it was before. You built up the broadcasting since day one. Even if it was just you on the radio by yourself, you've really done some amazing things that no one I would expect more from. You are a leader, and you're a great friend, and I hope that your future is as bright as here at Central Michigan University. Congratulations, and I can't wait for what's next for you, buddy.
Well, Devin, man, it's hard to believe. Finally, at the end of 3 years, you and I have worked over 80 games together. It's hard to believe that I'm going to be without my broadcast partner next year. The amount of learning that I've done from you and studying the craft with you has been immense. You and I have done multiple different tournaments together. We've learned and we've helped each other grow, and it's been such a phenomenal experience. My favorite memory broadcasting with you will probably be what happened in the last month, the 2024 National Championship. You and I got to call the Men's Division II National Championship. But other than that, it was a fantastic week. You and I worked our heart out. It was so much fun. But one of the things I will always remember about working with you and about how you approach your craft is your dedication and your hard work that you put in every single week, year in, year out, day after day, and it shows. You've helped make this program, CCHN, one of the best that this university has to offer in terms of broadcasting, and it wouldn't be where it is now without you. It's been an honor to work with you throughout the last couple of years. I will miss it, buddy.
Wow. Man, that's a lot. Quite the location you picked, too. Thank you, buddy. Of
course,
man.
buddy. But that's not all we got. That's not all we got.
That's not it?
We got
Really?
one more.
Dude,
Derek,
come on,
one more.
man.
This is from the team.
Oh, boy.
We wanted to give you something from all of us. So you can remember your 4 years here. There you go.
Oh, my God, dude. This is... Every moment's here, too. Look at this thing. Oh, my God. Picture frames, too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this one's my favorite, too. One of them. Wow.
And we got pictures from Derek. I got pictures from Joe. This is
Everyone's
almost
in
all 4 years.
CCHN group, too.
Without.
The Florida ones, we look like babies, too. No.
How about that one?
One with Calvin, too. Oh, my gosh. I don't even... I'm honestly speechless. Like, I don't know really how much more to say than thank you all. This has been one heck of a ride. Derek's over here in the corner on the camera. It's been one heck of a ride with so many people that have lifted me up and made me want to work so hard because of the dedication you've all put in. But more than that, being our friends and building this group into something that was more than just a job. Like, this felt like really just great experience overall. I'm fortunate to work with you too, Reagan, for that long, and I'm glad we could build this up, and I'm glad you guys are going to keep it going because you're going to make it better than me I ever could.
So I wasn't in that video, but I will say, amongst what is going on with the two teams, that's here nor there. The one thing I want to tell you is that when Sean and Tyler left, I didn't think CCHM was ever coming back. I thought it was done because nobody else was able to do what they did since they were here. The fact that you were able to bring it back and make it stronger than what it was in the past, Sean had probably the best guy to come after him in terms of bringing it back. And, I mean, this is for Reagan, too, but more so you. The fact that you brought back broadcasting for CMU hockey that I don't even think it was before you, it was Nick and someone else that just, it wasn't the production level of CCHN in the past. So congrats on that. Congrats on graduating, and good luck in your future.
Well, thank you, John. That means the world. And you've done a heck of a job covering Division II as well. I mean, your broadcast and your passion really shines through. I know you care a lot about that team. And like you said, you're here nor there. We're all one big family here at the end of the day. And that's what this is going to mean to me is how much of a family this was. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you to you all. Even those in the studio, Joseph, thank you for being there every step of the way and caring about this. And I just hope you keep it going. And you pass not just this kind words to me, but to each other as well. This keeps going on. And I kind of want to close this off with just a little bit of something I wrote here for all of you guys to what it meant to me to be part of this program. Well, when I began this journey 4 years ago, I just graduated high school in the thick of COVID-19, the pandemic, and leaving high school felt awkward. There was no graduation, transition to college, and of course wearing masks in public was weird, but one of the December evenings in 2020, I sent an introduction email to the CMU Club Hockey radio broadcaster, Nick Blaser, the now voice of the USHL's Omaha Lancers, and he decided on a blind whim to give an energetic and nervous freshman looking to get this start in sports play-by-play the reins to hundreds of dollars of equipment and a lot of faith in the future of Chippewa hockey broadcasts. My first game was just over 3 years ago, a resounding 11-1 win over the Northwood Timberwolves in the bleachers of the frozen meat locker that is Martin Ice Arena. And just the week prior, I had learned what the ACHA was from the longest tenured D3 captain, Brendan Martin. And I can now say I have an unwavering and somewhat disturbing addiction to this league. But regardless, I can recall many great CMU games. Marty's clutch overtime winner against Michigan, Jacob St. Andre's MCHC playoff moment, my favorite moment in the history of this program. And Lawrence Tech This season, knocking off the reigning national champion Wolverines, putting them out of contention for nationals on senior night. I guess it's a cliche, but this year was my favorite of them all. And not for the results on the ice or the success of our broadcasts, but the fostering of old and new friendships with players, coaches, parents, and this family that is CCHN. I'm a believer that the saying, "You are only as great as the people around you," and I give credit to and dedication of my success on air and behind the scenes to my student colleagues and friends here. This group started as an idea following Reagan Cleve's arrival to Central Michigan in the fall of 2021, and we took inspiration from our broadcast previously, the now ancient media team under Sean Bednard and Tyler Marcotte. We envisioned bringing a new standard of live radio and video coverage to CMU D3, and since then we've expanded our crew of talent and production. We began covering the women's team and created a new studio show. We get to bring John on here on the Division II side. Now that my time here is complete and the loose end, as they say, is gone, CCHN is going to continue growing and bringing coverage of CMU hockey, establishing itself as the best broadcast network in all of the ACHA. For myself, I'd like to thank the many players, coaches, parents, and fans that tuned in to watch and listen each weekend. Thank you to Reagan Cleese, our Director of PR, my main partner on air for 3 seasons, our fantastic social media guru, and Joe Laser behind the camera. And shout out to his staff with Lane, Rachel, and Kaylee. I know they're going to keep doing a great job. Thank you to this staff: Derek Steele, Parker Morrison, Ryan, Brody, Sam, Trevor, John, Ian, Michael, Joseph, and the many, many more staff members that have made this one of the highlights of my life. And of course, all of you watching and supporting me with kind words and the timeless interactions. I'm truly grateful for it all. And for one final time, I'd like to thank you for watching this presentation of Inside Chippewa Hockey. My name is Devin Serra, and this has been a production of CCHN. As always, fire up chips.